guys? Welcome back for another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Let's jump right into it. Venom 3 is titled Venom: The Last Dance. Tom Hardy's sequel moves up to October date. Let's read a little more. The third installment of the Venom franchise finally has a title, Venom: The Last Dance. Sony has also moved up the film's release date to October 25th, 2024 from the previously announced November 8th date. Plot details are still under wraps, but Tom Hardy will return as the lethal protector Eddie Brock / Venom in the film, also starring Juno Temple, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Clark Backo. Kelly Marcel will make her feature directorial debut with the project. She also wrote the screenplay from a story she developed with Hardy, Avi Arad, Matt Tolmach, Amy Pascal, Hutch Parker. Marcel and Hardy are producing. Let's read a little more. The first two Venom films, 2018's Venom, helmed by Ruben Fleischer, and the 2021 sequel, Let There Be Carnage, directed by Andy Serkis, earned a combined $1.3 billion at the box office. That's pretty good numbers. Sony first announced the third film was in the works during its CinemaCon presentation in April 2022. The project will be the first appearance of Venom since a credits sequence cameo in 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home. So I'll leave that there. I think this is going to be pretty cool, guys. I like the title. I think this is going to be Tom Hardy's last appearance as Venom. I don't know if they're going to throw Spider-Man in that. I think that would actually get a lot of traction towards this film. As far as this director goes, I haven't heard of Kelly Marcel. I have to look in some of her works, but it depends on what she's worked on. If she's worked on projects in the past that have been pretty successful, I think it would do well. When you look at the box office of the previous Venom films, I know the first Venom, it did about 7x at the box office. Awesome, complete blockbuster. The second film, Let There Be Carnage, it didn't do as good as the box office as the first film, but it was still successful. I believe that one did 4x. They keep the budget in between about $110 million and $160 million, so they keep the budget really tame, and I think that's really the key to making Venom a success. The fact that you can keep that budget down, and then, people know the character, they like the character. Tom Hardy, pretty notable actor. People will flock to the theater to watch it, you know what I mean? If you have a good story, it's going to do even better. These things tend to do well if you do keep that budget low. So the fact that they keep that budget at a decent level, it really helps Venom in the long run. I do wonder what direction they are going to go in for this film, though. It's spoken the article of him having a cameo in 2021, So we'll see what happens. We'll see if they throw Spider-Man in there. I think that will be one of those kind of like wild card plays that they have in their back pocket if they need to, really play on that. And I think it would kind of be cool to finally see this version of Venom and Spider-Man on the big screen together. Like, last time we saw Venom and Spider-Man on the big screen together, it was Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and that was Spider-Man 3. But I think, with two different actors playing these two characters, I think it'd be a different spin on it. But yeah, I think I'll be interested in this. I saw the first Venom. I thought it was a decent film. I did not watch Let There Be Carnage. I'll probably watch it eventually, but I wasn't really that interested in it. I think the casting kind of threw me off. I haven't heard terrible things about it. I heard it was a decent film, average film, but, maybe I'll watch that and then go into Venom 3 and see what they have to offer there. I cannot wait to see a trailer for this thing, and I do think that October 25th release date is actually a really good release date right there before Halloween. I just think it makes a lot of sense. It coming out November 8th, it doesn't make that much sense to me, but I think that October 25th, late October release date is an awesome plan for them. Let's move on to the next article. Neve Campbell returning for Scream 7 after exiting franchise over salary controversy. And that's crazy because, Neve Campbell, she's basically been a huge part of the whole Scream franchise since the beginning in 1995. So the fact that they had a dispute over money is very interesting, but I could see how she probably wanted more of her cut, you know what I mean? She's been a real intricate part of the story. Let's read a little more. After sitting out Scream 6 over a salary dispute, franchise star Neve Campbell has announced her return in the upcoming 7th movie. This is a quote, "Sidney Prescott is coming back." Campbell posted on Instagram Tuesday, "It's always been such a blast and an honor to get to play Sidney in the Scream movies. My appreciation for these films and for what they have meant to me has never been waned. I am very happy and proud to say I've been asked in the most respectful way to bring Sidney back to the screen and I couldn't be more thrilled, end quote. Along with Campbell's return, Scream creator-writer Kevin Williamson is taking over as director of Scream 7. He wrote the first, second, and fourth Scream movies, in addition to executive producing the 2022 reboot Scream and its sequel, Scream 6. Article is going to be in the description, guys. You can read a little more into that. I really do like Scream. I've talked about it before in the Popcorn Square podcast. Great balance of horror and, little comedic aspects. And, as I've said, Scream has found a way to be a horror franchise that can recreate itself, and it can really, just continue to push forward and still be a success. I think it's a shame that you're losing Jenna Ortega. And I cannot remember the name of the main actress. I know her last name is Beretta. I don't want to forget her first name. But yeah, you lost the two big main actresses in basically the new era of the Scream franchise, and really that's a punch in the gut. You can bring Neve Campbell back, and it's always going to bring that nostalgia back into the story. But the fact of the matter is, if you do want Scream to progress, you have to find a way to bring in new characters and get the new generation of people to respect the story. Because Scream has been around for, 95, so it's about 29 years now. Almost 30 years. You want to be able to keep it new. You want to bring in people that the younger generation recognizes. If you start to age out the cast, people are not going to be interested anymore. And I think that's what Scream has been able to do. They've been able to implement new people into the story, keep the story fresh, and keep it interesting. Like I said, I really like Scream. I really liked Scream 5 and Scream 6. It's a shame that they lost two of their big main stars. Really messed up that happened. But Neve Campbell coming back is really interesting. And also, I didn't know that she wasn't in Scream 6 because it was a salary dispute. So I think that's interesting too. But it just kind of tells you where Paramount is at right now. When you lose your two big stars, and these are the main characters in the new Scream franchise. You lose those two, you kind of got your back against the wall, and you have to go to the drawing board. You have to say, okay, maybe we need to humble ourselves and try to figure out how we can make this work, because at the end of the day, it's a business and they're trying to make money off this. And once again, we've talked about this on Popcorn Square as well. You see a lot of these studios, they're not really trying to take chances on new ideas. They're trying to take something that has a following and, for lack of a better term, trying to exploit that and still make money off of it. So I think them getting Neve Campbell back is kind of a sign of that happening. But like I said, I really like that article, guys. Link is going to be in the description. Next article from The Hollywood Reporter. Joaquin Phoenix, Emma Stone, Pedro Pascal to star in Ari Aster's Eddington for A24, another A24 film. Austin Butler, Luke Grimes, Clifton Collins Jr. round out the cast for the feature that begins production this week. I'm gonna say, guys, you have multiple Oscar winners on this casting right now. This movie's probably gonna be huge. But we've seen that before. You see movies that have a banging cast, and it's like it doesn't really come through, or really, I guess what I'm trying to say is they don't really hit the nail on the head with it, and it doesn't do what they expect it to do. You have all these talented people. It's an all-star group. You would think, man, this thing's going to be perfect, but there's a lot of other things that go into it. Writing, the way the movie's shot, who's directing the movie, all kinds of things. But anyway, let's read a little more. Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, and Austin Butler are among the performers set to star in the feature that A24 will finance and produce. Luke Grimes, Michael Ward, and Clifton Collins Jr. are also set to appear in the movie that does not yet have a release date. Aster is directing Eddington from his own script that centers on a small-town New Mexico sheriff with lofty aspirations. Two-time Oscar-nominated cinematographer Darius Conji will lends the title that Aster and Lars Knudsen are producing through their company Square Peg. A24 has released all three of Aster's previous feature films: Hereditary, that came out in 2018, Midsummer, I believe that came out in 2019, and then lastly, Beau is Afraid. So for the most part, with the previous films that it looks like Aster has worked on, 2 out of 3 are horror films. So I'm trying to figure out what direction this one is going to go into. So, to me, I don't really know what direction that one's going in. and it's not a lot of information as well. I'm kind of just theorizing and speculating on what could happen with this. But what I will say is they have the cast to really bring this thing together, and they have the people on the back end in the background to bring this thing together. A24, they've been known for putting out those good movies with that indie quality vibe. Hereditary, we've talked about that on the podcast. Pretty good movie. Midsummer, I have not seen that one, but I heard that one's pretty decent too. Pretty twisted movie. Beau is Afraid, I heard that was pretty good too. I heard that one was a little different. And Joaquin Phoenix was in that as well. But I want to see what they do with this Eddington. Like I said, I'm more interested in the cast that they've assembled. And, you know, you have a lot of heavy hitters in there. So I think that's going to be interesting to see when that actually comes out. Man, I would think this thing would be out by probably 2025, 2026. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, like I said, all the links for these articles, they're going to be in the description. If you want to read a little more, feel free to do that. I'm going to leave the broadcast here for today. Popcorn Square Podcast is going to be back on Monday and Friday this week. Stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, comment on this video. Let me know what you think about some of these articles that I spoke on. Love to hear some insights and see some interactions on that. Continue to listen to the broadcast. Really appreciate you guys being around. It's Neff signing off. Please be safe.